but the bartender won't tell.
A country star burned an envelope on live television out of pure spite in front of a national audience. A rockabilly legend married his own 13-year-old cousin, and for a while, Nashville looked the other way. A man died in the back seat of a Cadillac, injected full of drugs by someone who wasn't even a real doctor. These aren't ghost stories. They're not tabloid exaggerations somebody made up for clicks. Every one of these actually happened. Court records, coroner's reports, live broadcast footage nobody could take back. 12 rumors that sounded too disgusting, too strange, too cruel to be real. They were real. And by the time we get to number 1, you'll understand why the golden age of country music,
what they were doing,
had a shadow side the history books tried very hard to keep out of frame. Let's start at number 12.
For you, 'cause you're mine, I walk the line.
Number 12. Ernest Tubb pulls a gun on Music Row.
When the postman delivered a letter.
Nashville, November 1957. Inside the lobby of the National Life and Accident Insurance Building, the company that owned the Grand Ole Opry itself, a very drunk, very furious Ernest Tubb
You so much it went on.
walks in with a loaded pistol. Tubb wasn't some outlaw nobody. He was the Texas Troubadour, a Grand Ole Opry institution, the man who helped drag honky-tonk into the mainstream and gave Hank Williams one of his earliest breaks.
When I was a kid and I'd come home.
That night, drunk and enraged over a business dispute, Tubb pulled the gun, fired it inside the building, and was hauled off by police before anyone got hurt. The label smoothed it over. The Opry protected its own, and for decades it lived on as a whispered Music Row legend, until court and police records confirmed it wasn't a legend at all. If a Grand Ole Opry legend could pull a gun in a corporate lobby and walk away with his career intact, what happens when the addiction is the star, not the incident? Number 11.
I'll finish this letter.
Number 11. George Jones rode a lawnmower to get a drink.
Tell me who. It gives me.
Picture this. A Texas highway, mid-1970s, and a country legend puttering down the shoulder at 8 miles an hour on a riding lawnmower. George Jones, one of the greatest vocalists country music ever produced,
And it closes and slips me up.
was so deep in alcoholism that his wife at the time, Tammy Wynette, started hiding every set of car keys in the house to stop him from driving to the liquor store. So Jones found the one vehicle she forgot to hide.
Somebody wants me.
He climbed onto the riding mower and drove it several miles down the road toward town. Jones confirmed the story himself, more than once, in interviews and in his own memoir. He wasn't denying it. He was almost daring people not to believe it. It became one of the most repeated stories in country music.
But here comes a waitress.
Funny on the surface. But underneath, it's the portrait of a man whose addiction had become so absolute that a lawnmower felt like a reasonable plan. Jones survived his rock bottom. Not everyone on this list got the chance to. Number 10 takes us to prison.
Oh, my woman, she's under suspension.
Number 10. Merle Haggard's criminal record wasn't a rumor. San Quentin State Prison, New Year's Day, 1958. In the crowd of inmates watching a traveling performer take the stage, sits a 20-year-old prisoner named Merle Haggard. The performer was Johnny Cash.
Before you move along.
And Haggard wasn't there as a fan with a backstage pass. He was serving time for an armed burglary and an escape attempt, on a sentence that could have kept him locked up for years. For a long time, fans assumed the Merle Haggard did prison time story was industry mythology, the kind of outlaw backstory a record label invents to sell records.
And turn back the years and say
It wasn't invented. San Quentin's own records confirm his incarceration, and Haggard spoke about it openly for the rest of his life, crediting that Cash performance as the moment that pushed him toward music instead of a life behind bars. The man who became one of country music's most respected elder statesmen, invited to the White House, honored with a Kennedy Center Award, spent his 21st birthday in a cell. Haggard's story bent toward redemption. Number 9 did not. Number 9. Johnny Paycheck shot a man over a bar argument. Hillsborough, Ohio, 1985.
Next flight. So I decided to.
Johnny Paycheck, the outlaw voice behind Take This Job and Shove It, is deep in an argument at the North High Lounge that spirals completely out of control. Paycheck pulled a .22 caliber pistol and fired it, grazing a man's head.
But before I could, a young man came up.
The bullet came close enough to kill him. This wasn't a bar fight rumor exaggerated by the tabloids. Paycheck was charged, convicted, and served roughly 2 years in an Ohio prison.
You know, I worked a big.
Before Governor Richard Celeste granted him clemency in 1991. The man built his entire persona on rebellion and defiance of authority. The industry loved that outlaw image right up until it became an actual felony conviction.
And I thought to myself.
And then it became something country radio quietly stopped mentioning. Some scandals happened in a bar. Others were pressed onto vinyl and sold under the counter. Number 8.
So right there in front of that church, I just knelt down on my knees.
Number 8. David Allan Coe's underground albums were real.
I could do. Keep from trying.
Long before streaming, before content moderation, before anyone could flag anything, David Allan Coe was selling cassette tapes out of the trunk of his car after shows. Those tapes became 2 albums, released independently outside any major label system.
You don't have to call me Merle Haggard.
Packed with material so vulgar and so racially charged that no mainstream distributor would touch them. This wasn't a rumor about Coe's music. The albums existed, physically, and circulated for years in that underground word-of-mouth economy. Collectors still trade stories about tracking down copies decades later. Coe still had a legitimate mainstream career, respected songwriting credits, radio hits, running in parallel to material he knew radio would never play. 2 entirely different catalogues.
Well, a friend of mine named Steve Goodman wrote that song. And he told me it
built for 2 entirely different audiences. We're halfway through the list. If a story like this is new to you, that's exactly why channels like Retrovibes exist, to keep the real, uncomfortable history of this genre from disappearing. Subscribe if you want the rest of it, because it gets darker from here. Number 7.
trains or trucks.
Number 7. Charlie Rich burned the envelope on live TV.
My
Baby makes me proud. Lord, don't she make
October 1975, the CMA Awards. Charlie Rich steps up to announce the Entertainer of the Year, the genre's single biggest honor. He opens the envelope, reads John Denver's name, and then, on live national television,
and she lets her hair.
pulls out a cigarette lighter and sets the card on fire. This wasn't gossip. It happened on the broadcast, witnessed by millions, and clips of the moment still circulate today.
Makes me glad that I'm a man. Oh no.
Rich never fully explained himself. Some read it as a drunken stunt. Others believed it was a pointed statement that Denver, a pop folk singer with only a loose connection to Nashville, didn't belong wearing country music's biggest crown. Either way,
Lord, don't she make me smile.
one lit match turned into one of the most infamous seconds of unscripted television in the genre's history, and effectively ended Rich's welcome at future ceremonies. Live television couldn't hide what Charlie Rich did. A border checkpoint couldn't hide what happened to Johnny Cash. Number 6.
And when they turn out the lights.
Number 6. Johnny Cash's El Paso arrest.
Hello, David. And welcome to Nashville.
October 1965. Johnny Cash steps off a plane at El Paso International Airport and customs agents are waiting. Inside his guitar case, over 1,000 amphetamine and sedative pills smuggled up from Mexico.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Cash was arrested on the spot. The arrest is a matter of public record, mugshot, court filing and all, and it landed while Cash's addiction was already an open secret inside the industry, even as his public image stayed squeaky clean. He avoided serious jail time with a suspended sentence, but the arrest cracked the myth wide open. This was the same man who'd built a career on gospel conviction and prison reform advocacy.
Proves that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Quietly buying pills by the hundreds to function. Cash later called it one of the lowest points of his life, and it became part of the honesty that eventually made his comeback so powerful. He never tried to erase it from the record. Cash survived his scandal and rebuilt his legacy. The next story ended a career overnight. Number 5. Number 5. Jerry Lee Lewis and his 13-year-old cousin.
Lay down and try to sleep.
1957. Jerry Lee Lewis is one of the biggest rock and roll performers alive. Great Balls of Fire is everywhere, and a UK tour is about to launch him internationally.
You're gonna walk the floor.
A reporter at London's airport asks a routine question about the young woman travelling with him. She's introduced as his wife. She's 13 years old. She is also his first cousin once removed. And Lewis was still legally married to his previous wife when the marriage happened. This wasn't tabloid speculation. Marriage records confirmed it. The story broke within days across British and American press. The backlash was immediate and total. Promoters cancelled the remaining UK tour dates. American radio stations quietly dropped him. A career that had been climbing toward Elvis-level stardom collapsed almost overnight. Lewis spent the next several decades rebuilding a smaller, harder-won career in the shadow of a scandal that never really left him. A rumor so ugly, most people assumed it had to be an exaggeration. It wasn't. A ruined career is one kind of tragedy. A house full of hidden cash and 2 murdered bodies is another. Number 4.
You're cheating hard.
Number 4. Stringbean's murder over money that was there all along. November 1973. Grand Ole Opry comedian and banjo player David Stringbean Aikman and his wife Estelle come home from a night at the Opry to find their house being burglarized. The intruders, cousins who'd heard the rumor that Stringbean, distrustful of banks, kept enormous sums of cash hidden inside his home, shot and killed both him and Estelle. The rumor about the hidden cash was true. Investigators later found thousands of dollars stuffed inside the walls of the house. The killers had ransacked the place and left with almost none of it. They simply hadn't found where he'd hidden it. It's one of the most thoroughly documented tragedies in Opry history. Police reports, a televised trial, and a case that shook the Nashville music community to its core.
Keep right up 5 and you're headed for Broadway. Yeah!
A man's fear of banks, born out of a hard rural upbringing, ended up costing him his life over money the killers never even found. That was a robbery gone catastrophic. What happened at number 3 was something far more deliberate. Number 3. Spade Cooley murdered his wife in front of their daughter. April 1961. Spade Cooley, once billed as the King of Western Swing, a band leader with his own television show and a fortune built on it,
Molly, won't you say you love me too? I'll sell my horse's saddle.
is at his ranch outside Bakersfield. In a jealous rage over accusations of infidelity, Cooley beat his wife, Ellen, to death in front of their 14-year-old daughter, who was forced to watch.
Oh, me, oh, my Miss Molly, I'm in love with you. Oh, me, oh, my Miss Molly.
This is not disputed history. Cooley was tried, convicted of first-degree murder, and sentenced to life in prison. He was even granted a temporary furlough in 1969 to perform a benefit concert for a police charity. And collapsed and died backstage of a heart attack immediately after leaving the stage. One of the biggest stars of Western Swing's commercial peak,
Oh, my Miss Molly, I'm in love with you. Oh, me, oh, my Miss Molly.
ended his life as a convicted murderer who died mid-applause. Nashville and the West Coast country scene alike spent decades minimizing how famous he'd actually been. Not every act of violence in this list was physical. Number 2 is about the violence nobody could prove, and a decision that still divides the people who lived through it.
Molly, won't you say you love me?
Number 2, Tammy Wynette's kidnapping that may never have happened.
And I watched.
October 1978. Tammy Wynette, the reigning First Lady of country music, tells police she was abducted from a Nashville shopping center parking lot.
I went outside to see what they.
Driven 80 miles into the countryside, beaten and abandoned. Police never made an arrest. Investigators at the time called the case puzzling, and for years afterward, a persistent rumor circulated in Nashville
'Cause I heard him name.
that the kidnapping never happened at all. Here's what makes this one different from a tabloid rumor. 2 of Wynette's own daughters later wrote, independently, in separate published memoirs, that their mother privately admitted the story was invented.
Mommy and Daddy, and if that's
To explain injuries she'd actually received from her husband, George Ritchie, after a violent fight. George Ritchie denied the allegations his entire life, and the full truth was never confirmed by a court or investigation.
I don't wanna play house. I know it.
Wynette herself maintained until her death that the abduction was real. So this is the one entry on the list where the disgusting rumour and the thing it may have been hiding are both haunting in their own right. If her daughters were right,
I've watched Mommy and Daddy.
the cover story wasn't the scandal. What it was covering up was. Every story on this list has been building toward one moment. The death that started as a rumour and turned out to be worse than anyone wanted to believe. Number 1.
'Cause when she played house, my daddy's
Number 1. The fake doctor who killed Hank Williams.
Whippoorwill, he sounds too blue.
New Year's Eve, 1952. Sliding into the first hours of 1953. A baby blue Cadillac is driving through the West Virginia mountains, carrying country music's brightest star. Toward a New Year's Day show in Canton, Ohio. Hank Williams is in the back seat. He is 29 years old. Somewhere on that drive, he stops breathing. And nobody in the car realizes it for hours. For decades, fans repeated a dark rumor that Williams hadn't just died of heart failure and years of hard living, but that someone had actively helped kill him, a so-called doctor
I could cry.
pumping him full of drugs right up until the end. That rumor turned out to be devastatingly close to true. A man named Horace Toby Marshall had been treating Williams for months, holding himself out as a physician. His medical degree was mail order and fraudulent. In the days before Williams died, Marshall injected him with a cocktail that included chloral hydrate and morphine, a combination that, mixed with alcohol and Williams's failing heart,
Purple sky. And as
was a death sentence. Marshall was later convicted, not of anything related to Williams's death directly, but for an unrelated manslaughter, after being caught running the same fraudulent doctor routine on someone else.
hear that lonesome
Hank Williams didn't die from heartbreak or a curse or bad luck, the way the folklore likes to tell it. He died because a con man with a fake diploma was allowed anywhere near a man everyone could see was in trouble. And country music's entire industry, its bookers, its label, its road crew,
I'm so lonesome I could cry.
let it happen because the tour had to go on. That's the thread running through every story on this list. It was never really about the shock value of what these artists did or what was done to them. It's about an industry that built its entire mythology on heartbreak and hard living, and then looked away every time that mythology became a real person bleeding, addicted, or in the ground. The rumors were disgusting,
When leaves began to die.
because the truth was disgusting. Country music didn't survive its golden age by avoiding the darkness. It survived by singing through it and hoping nobody asked too many questions. We just did.
To live, I'm so lonesome